Lovely little mushrooms. Well, not so little, gigantic, but still lovely. So, I spent most of this morning, or, well, good chunk of the early morning, crying, shedding tears. Because, well, I lost a friendship today that was very dear to me. As I'm walking up this trail to go out to the main section of the village, where my side-by-side is stored, I will discuss it. I have, as you can see, all my shit with me. Tarp. This is the, this is the wagon, the towing wagon that I assembled. Oh yeah, I probably should have mentioned before, I have new boots. I don't know if anyone picked up on that in the other videos, but long story short, they're from my landscaping job. My ex-employer said that, well, I didn't have the proper footwear for the job, so, and I didn't, at the time, have the means to go into anywhere that, well, I couldn't take my golf cart, or wasn't going to attempt to take my golf cart into Peterborough to buy steel-tipped construction boots, so they bought some for me when I try and go see them, just to say goodbye one last time. For as much as my gripes I still have with them, as of right now, I'm still thankful that they did that. So yeah, new boots. Yeah, you can see quite a bit of stuff I've packed. Cooler, food, all of it. Yeah. And if you're wondering why I'm holding the camera like this, sideways this time instead of like, why I'm holding it diagonally instead of horizontally, is because I figured, well, if I'm gonna, should have picked up on this for quite a while for my editing skills, which I have none. If I'm gonna splice videos together, that ones that are supposed to be in the same video, might as well keep the frame rate consistent, because it's also, when I export videos that are like this, that also have a horizontal angle attached to them, it exports weird, and it's got the black bars, and it's very small screen when it uploads to YouTube, so yeah, figured why not. So yeah, just gonna keep this in tow with me as I walk. So let me explain, well, sorry, just gotta re-angle what happened. So, horsefly landed on my camera. So, if you haven't seen the last video of, well, basically, an individual betrayed my trust. Basically, my entire extended relatives, or many of them, have, itch on my head. There were quite a few that betrayed my trust. And if you saw the last video, you would know, it's buckling a bit behind me, that I, well, I left their, cottage as a mess. I went through with that, and right now I do not regret that decision at all. Maybe one day I will, maybe I won't. Right now I do not. And it further confirmed with talking to some people this morning that, yeah, people either knew about this certain individual's plan to inform the OPP of what exactly I would have been attempting to do. And with me traveling the way I was going to. And the ones who didn't know and found out wholeheartedly agreed with that individual. But what's even sadder is that a friend of mine from Toronto, who I'd been trying to actually get in contact with periodically for the last 2.5 months or so. Well, they heavily betrayed my trust as well. So, okay, let me just get out of this little patch here and then keep explaining. Okay, is that a car? No, it isn't. So, this friend, again, I'm not naming names, not doing that. We had kept in contact well enough during the beginning of my journey about 4 months ago. And yeah, we were just keeping relatively good contact. Sorry, I'm going up a hill and this thing is quite bulky. So, anyway. So, one sec. Okay, sorry, someone just passed me. Just wanted to move out of their way. So, this friend and I had been keeping relatively good contact. But then, about 2.5 months ago, that contact ceased. I wasn't able to reach them by text. I wasn't able to reach them by phone when I was in Wi-Fi or mosquitoes. Or, well, in cell reception areas. And you know what? I'm actually going to stop over here and just discuss this because this isn't the greatest idea. Pulling this up and talking at the same time. Okay, that's better for now. So, bottom line is I lost contact with them. I tried to get in touch and, didn't pan out. I left a comment on something of theirs on a social media platform and, well, they saw it, obviously. But, well, after posting the video of last night, well, I woke up to a text. Mosquitoes are everywhere. Don't want to kill them. In line with my moral values, I don't like killing bugs unless I have to. But anyway. I woke up to a text after that video basically just saying they wholeheartedly agree with this other individual, a relative of mine, who informed the OPP of what I was attempting to do. And basically just said they didn't want to talk to me, to just give me space after, I guess, me posting the lake video that I did when I attempted to swim across the lake, which, by the way, in line with your text, I admitted literally in the first half of that video it was a dumb decision. So then, basically, the text just went on to say that I keep making bad decisions. They can't fully support it. And that I'm too young for this. So now, after all that, let me give you a history of me and this friend. Again, I'm not going to try and go into a whole lot of... I don't want to go into revealing details, so hugely revealing at least. So, basically, I met this friend at my old place of work in Toronto. I got to know them quite well, and after a long while I admitted to them that I consider them to be one of my best friends. They told me the feeling was mutual. And they helped me out the most with advice, or just talking. They helped me through the most during my times of suicidality. And just the darkest moments of my life the last year. Sorry, I'm going to move around a bit to try and avoid some of the mosquitoes. So, I'll just pace back and forth. So, they helped me out so much through talking. Just so much as talking and listening to me. Agreed at many instances with so much of the idiotic shit that I was facing in my household, and was hoping to just console me with my whole ideological issues, my confusion, and the whole contradicting thing, with nothing really making too much sense anymore. Then, skipping forward a bit, after I had made the decision to leave the city, they told me they don't support it, they don't think it's a good idea, but if I absolutely need to, then they think that I should. Or at the very least that they support if I need to, then if I have to go, then I should go. And the thing, and back to that comment I left on one of their social media platforms, like one of their social media accounts. I told them pretty well how much, whilst being up here for the summer, I sent them that message saying that, well, basically just saying everything that they had told me that had helped me question a lot of things, and helped me actually, in some regards, whether or not I agreed with what they said or not. Well, in some form they helped me. Just so much as talking about it. And I know they saw it, so And I even specifically said in that message that the advice they gave me, whether I agreed with it or not at this point, I think about it every day. It's still, I specifically said, it still rings in my ears every day, as does a lot of things people have said to me over the last little while. So, and then in this, well, when they sent me this message this morning, they also said that they've got very important stuff to worry about. Not like I was trying to make them not worry about the issues going on in their life. All I wanted to do was just talk. Or, as I attempted to do, send text messages. And I will say as well, this person is a fellow artist. I'm sorry if that sounds self-righteous. Like, well, content creation is an art form, in my opinion, but they are an artist as well. And we shared so much values of artistic creation, or stances on artistic creation in common. And I remember specifically, they told me as well once that, Cam, me questioning things, as I am doing, being out here and all this, venturing around, is character development. That we are all characters as well, which I had already known before, but they just, in my very depressive state in the city, they reiterated that to me, and they made it, their words made it stick a lot more. Made it a lot more reassuring. Sorry, I'm not gonna cry on camera, at least at this moment. I don't want this to sound, again, I'm not knocking anyone who cries on camera, like, meaningfully, sincerely, not like the whole performative, like, YouTube apology-esque, like, crying. It's just, this is really sad. If I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna shut off the camera and actually just sob for a moment by myself. As I already did this morning, because I don't feel, again, with my skewed sense of morality, as I keep saying, it just somewhat feels manipulative, I guess. I know, and I don't, again, I'm not trying to knock anyone who's genuinely going through a lot of emotional pain whilst on camera. If it's therapeutic for them to get it out emotionally on camera, then do so. It's just, or being, like, open and honest with your feelings to your audience, but bottom line is, I will say, this friend has also betrayed my trust very heavily. Mainly, now this person deals with memory issues as well. A bit worse than mine from what I've heard, but, or what when I've talked to them. But so I'm not gonna say anything like, maybe they weren't fully thinking about what they said. In fact, actually, when I read the text, I was so hurt by it that I almost wanted to believe that it was, I almost wanted to believe that someone from my former place of work literally just took their phone and, oh, no, that's not a car. I want to believe that someone took their phone and just, well, was trying to, like, pull a very sick joke on me. I wanted to... Okay, you're getting a little too close for comfort. If the mosquitoes want to take my blood, they can. Just, they want to have a snack before they die, because I'm not going to be able to fight them off. It's literally, it's getting colder out. I would have thought most of them would have been dead by now. But, nope, the last few that are alive are scrambling to get their fill for their eggs. Because they're going to start dying off soon. So they're just jumping on the chance to suck on blood. Anyway. The unrealistic part of me wanted to believe that it was just a joke or something like that. But I know it's not. But what really destroyed me the most was the fact that this person in the text, after saying that of the important issues that they have to attend to, and that they actually they said that they almost contemplated calling the police, or reporting what I'm doing to the police just to keep an eye out for someone on the roads with a small motorized vehicle. So that hurt as well. They said in the text, "You are too young for this." Again, with everything what I'm doing right now, blatant ageism. Not even subtle. Like, that's just blatant. From someone who seemingly agreed with me on the point of intellectual maturity varying depending on the person, and age is not a factor. And also, by the way, as you are fully aware, if you're watching this, and I know this doesn't mean just because you are an age doesn't make it right to do so. I'm aware of that. But legally as well, I am an adult, able to make my own choices. And from what it seemed like from your stance, though you didn't agree with it, you would leave me to my own rhetoric. You would just leave me to my own devices. That seemingly is what all the people around me recently seemed to be the idea they were pushing, that they would let me be, let me figure it out, and let me bear the consequences of what happens. Which, by the way, the whole potentially harming other people, I'm going to say this right now, and I will demonstrate this when I get out to the landing, as I'm going to drive that side-by-side just to demonstrate it quickly. Not going to take it anywhere specifically, just on the nearby road to show the vehicle. I have taught myself how to drive those vehicles. I pretty well have. Actually, not even I've been following all proper safety precautions on the road. I have not been swerving like crazy. I have not been making any sort of full-blown risky moves in terms of traffic laws, other than the no license, no insurance, and the point no helmet. I was cautious on the roads, as I think would have been evident by the first part of the before leaving the cottage little series, when I showed me driving the golf cart. I was going at well, the full speed it could go, and as well as pulling out of the way for oncoming cars, checking my mirrors regularly, and keeping at a steady, well, keeping the vehicle steady, not swaying all over the road. And I even stopped, actually, to pull out of the way for a friggin' giant semi-truck coming through. So, well, hold on a minute. Sorry, that was another car. So that cut really deep. The "I am too young for this" statement. Okay, let me put this into perspective. This person, I'm 18. This person is 28. You're 10 years older than me. By the way, in many regards, well, considering how stupid we can both be at times, as evident, I guess, well, or at least I thought we were on the same... well, same page, I guess. Not in terms of what I'm doing now, obviously, but just as people. So that blatant ageism cut very deep, especially after all the ageism I have faced. Through most of my life from people in my household. Manipulation from them as well. Manipulation and ageism from people in my extended relative. Well, from people in my extended family. My relatives. But what hurts the most is the fact that this person, during the week that I was preparing to leave, on one of my final stops to my place of work to just say goodbye to people, I told them this is what I must do, or I feel that I have to do. They got up, hugged me, and specifically told me, "You stay in touch. You stay in touch." I don't know if you remember that, but from my recollection, there was also one or two other coworkers in there at the time. So maybe they can confirm it, or we had security cameras in the office section of it. So if you want to go back to May, what was the day? Well, considering I slept outside. I'm going to say, I think it might have been the day before I posted the Leaving Toronto video. So May 22nd, I want to say, of 2022. If you want to go back and watch that to confirm it, go ahead. But I know that you specifically told me, stay in touch. And I tried to do that. So this person wished me well for the future. I don't know if this person's putting on just a persona or not. Again, same as how I may feel with everyone, or majority of people in the world right now. But they wished me well for the future. And, well, right now, I consider this to be a loss of friendship, a falling out. I don't want, but no, there's a car coming, who cares? I don't wish spite upon this person. I hope they maybe reflect, as I've been doing this whole time, or really think about that message they sent me. How much that really did further betray my trust. By the way, as well, as seeing as everyone is so concerned about me taking a side-by-side on the road, weren't concerned about, well, okay, they were somewhat concerned, but didn't contemplate ratting me out to the OPP or any sort of law enforcement when I had my motorized bike going on major roads and highways that's on the sides of it, staying out of the way of cars, pulling off the way so that they could pass on roads that I legally technically shouldn't have been on. Because those bikes, though you don't need a license, yeah, you don't need insurance, you don't need a license or registration for it, you still have, there's still limitations to legally what roads you can take it on. I got up here on many major routes. Roads and through parts of cities that that bike was not supposed to be going on. And yet, this person still spoke to me then. Still spoke to me when I made the decision to buy that bike. Still spoke to me while I was sleeping on the streets of Toronto for a week, preparing to come up here. So, I hope in the future, maybe this friendship can, I hope it can be made amends. I'll leave them to their own devices, as I wish that they would have for me. If they ever want to talk, here comes another car. If they want to contact me, they are more than welcome to do so. But seeing as you have very important stuff to do, I won't be contacting you. At least anytime soon. If you want to contact me, go ahead. I'll try to pick up if I'm able to at the time. But, so, I just want to finally reiterate that the ageism, this is directly at this person, the ageism stung. It stung like a hornet. And the fact that you specifically told me to stay in touch on my whole adventure upward north, and then you actively, I guess, in a sense, decide to cut me off, well, that cut like a knife. But anyway, I wish this person well. I don't want spite upon them. But moving aside from that, I want to just talk about how this can be used as, I guess, a learning experience for my journey going forward. Well, the main thing, I guess it would be, is, well, what I could learn from it is loss. Now, I've experienced harsh loss before in my past, of friendships as well, and romantic relationships too. There were relationships that in my past, as I've spoken about, that I feel I deserved to lose, honestly. That, well, for as much as I tried to right what I felt were my wrongs with it, I said I didn't want to be friends with those people again because, well, I feel, I guess, I deserve to lose them. Maybe one day I'll find that maybe if I change my opinion one day, maybe I'll see that I deserve to lose this friendship. And if not, if I didn't deserve to lose it, then, well, I can still take it as a learning curve. And also, losing the relationship with pretty well probably going to be my... okay. come on. You've had enough. You've had enough to snack on, okay? My veins are not an infinite, like, food supply. I'm happy to share my body, but you guys, you gotta take it in moderation. Anyway, I've probably, after as well leaving the cottage a mess, probably lost a lot, or gonna lose a lot of family relations. I don't care at the moment. Because again, this, from what they did, severe betrayal of my trust. Again, what I reiterated in the other video, to those of you who I think you know who you are and didn't mean to cause me this much pain, or knew nothing about what this certain individual did, then, not the one in Toronto, the person who reported me to the OPP. Again, what I did at the cottage, leaving it a mess, not directed at you. I'm sorry if you're involved in the cleanup, whoever decides to go up there to further lock the place up. But, yeah, I still feel that it is well-deserved, considering everything that, well, people have put me through. And again, I will reiterate, I left that room I showed at the end with the door, not saying whose room that was, but again, respect for that person, the memory of that person, just them as the individual that they were. Doesn't mean I like everything about them, but for hearing about them, who they were, their memory, I have respect for it. I left that room completely spotless. In fact, before I left, I went in there and vacuumed and disinfected the entire washroom. I went in there and did that. I cleaned it up. I didn't make a mess in there at all. In fact, for the entire summer, I tried to stay out of that room, actually. Didn't want to fully dirty it up, out of respect. So, there you go. But anyway, back to loss. I can take this as a learning curve. Now, what I may find out of it, I don't know yet. Got to think about it a bit more at the moment. But this road is getting a bit busier as the day is getting brighter, I guess. But I can oh, wow. That's interesting. That car is from Prince Edward Island. You did not see too many of those around here. Cool. Anyway, I can take this as a learning curve. Further processing loss. Can relate to the loss of, it relates as well to the potential loss of what I once thought was morally right. As I also said in the last video, as people don't seem to understand, just because something is a law does not make it ethical, or right, what I would consider ethically right. And again, I'm starting to realize as well, something I should probably mention, I used to use the word moralist a lot to refer to someone who I thought had terrible morals. I just thought they were a moralist person, or something what someone would consider unethical. Realistically, no human being is technically moralless. They have morals, it's just you think their morals are terrible. Or if their morals are just wishy-washy and, hypocritical, well, then their morals are to be a hypocrite. A major hypocrite. So, technically, unethical, that can be used a lot more readily, I think. It can be used a lot more properly when referring to people you think they're unethical, but moralist really doesn't work for living human beings, things that are capable of having a conscience and that are capable of thoughts of what they considered, what they value, having philosophical values. So yeah. So again, just because something is illegal does not make that thing wrong. And I think this person who this friend who betrayed my trust, out of all people, should really know that, considering everything we would discuss. I would get into long ideological and moralistic talks, and existential and just philosophical talks about life in general, and just social issues with this person and others at my former place of work. This person, considering from what it sounded like seemed to be their moral stance on it, should know that just because something is illegal does not make it wrong. And if something is illegal and it is morally right to be doing that thing, or in certain regards it is more beneficial or morally right, then should you follow? If something is oh no, I'm sorry, little mosquito, rest in peace. I did not mean to crush you. I thought it was just an itch after you bit me. I didn't know you were still there. Great, now I'm further sad. I don't care if it seems over dramatic that I'm sad about a fucking mosquito. I am. Is there a friggin' living thing too? That's just as pointless as the rest of us on this planet, mind you. So, just because something is illegalized in a government system, in a country, doesn't make it wrong. And therefore, should you just follow? If that law is really detrimental and destroying that good thing, should you follow that law? I don't think so. Again, that gets into iffy moral dilemmas, but I believed in being able to work your way around a system while still being somewhat inside of it. It's what most of us who don't have a passion for being politicians or starting a revolution, why we operate within, say, I'm going to use my communist stance of operating in a capitalist type system, or hell, if you want to go to a larger extent, a fascist type system or a dictatorship, an authoritarian ruled country, operating within the system and trying to help things as best you can whilst also following your goals, because you don't want to be that revolutionary or a politician. Again, that's what I logically thought. So, operating outside of that system would be breaking that law in some way. If it's causing major disrupt, which, by the way, me driving this thing, not going to cause major disrupt. I drove it for 2 whole weeks with no issues around this entire county, other than getting pulled over those 2 times, the last time getting ticketed, and I hadn't used it since then. But in those days in between seeing those cops when I was about to pull into where my place of work was, and then that one time before when I was coming back from Peterborough, the whole time into Peterborough, no issues. Didn't cause any accidents, didn't cause disrupt to traffic. Not a single person honked at me out of anger, which they actually did when I was riding my motorized bike up. A few people road raged and honked at me when I pulled out of their way, or they had ample room to go by me. So, and same with the golf cart. Not a single person honked at me on that much slower, the slowest vehicle that I've had so far. So it didn't cause disrupt. I was able to maneuver the vehicle safely. And for the 2 weeks after that, operated it safely. No issues. And that's not me saying I'm an expert at driving it. Well, I know how to fucking drive it. I know how to drive it well. It's not saying I know how to every little thing about the vehicle, or that, hey, I won't make a mistake on the road. Obviously, yes, I have made mistakes, wrong turns, Yeah, I've made mistakes whilst driving. Everyone has. Nothing to a major detriment is what I'm saying. I obeyed the street traffic laws other than the license and insurance. Turning, keeping a steady pace with cars as much as I could, all of that. So, yeah, the hullabaloo over the side-by-side is completely ridiculous and quite, well, because most of these people knew I had left on a motorized bike, doing literally the exact same thing that I was about to do. Hypocritical. But anyway, for the loss of friendship, I will reflect on it and see what I can learn from it. I'm going to get going now. I'm going to show you my side-by-side. And then I'm going to wait for that family friend to show up with a truck or hauling van of some kind, which I did not want them to rent, to get my stuff up there. And then once I'm in Ottawa, whether I get a license or not, if I still have my side-by-side, I'm taking it through Quebec and up to Labrador. Or I'll take a different vehicle. If I can't have my side-by-side, maybe I'll look into an electric bike or another motorized bike. I don't know. But we'll see what comes. And again, that's whether I am able to obtain some form of license or not. So, yeah, I'm going to head out to the rest of the village. Okay, so here she is. This is Carlene. Yep, that's what I called her. My side-by-side. It's a Polaris. Guess it's a make. Exhaust, chain, everything. Motor and, well, the engine, I'm assuming, is underneath here. I can't lift that up. Yeah, so my family friend is on their way. They're going to be here relatively quickly, so I'm just going to demonstrate riding her. These are the safety triangles right here, which apparently they potentially are cancer causing, so that's great. Yeah, rigged up these mirrors, which took me a bit to get going. I had a wagon, which I was going to attach that one that I was pulling to the back of this, somewhere, possibly to here or there, with rope and tape, which I did with the other buggy that I had before, which broke. But yeah, rigged this up, so I'm just going to quickly demonstrate how this drives. So, yeah, spent $5,000 on this. Oh yeah, and the lights, they all work. They're completely functional. They only come on at night. So, yeah, this is Carlene. Hopefully, I will actually be able to use her going forward after Ottawa. So, yeah, okay. Okay, let's hope that you don't tip. off-road vehicles or ATVs and UTVs around here, just roaming about on the roads. Now that one did have a license plate, but there are many I have seen around here that don't, and haven't been harassed by the police. So there's a little demonstration of my ability to drive it. I literally specifically rigged up mirrors so I could see behind. Yeah, well, be getting on the road to Ottawa. May take some footage, since it only took, or my family friend said for what how they're getting here with the hauling vehicle. It took them maybe 3 hours, because right now they just called me and they're in or close to Norwood. So yeah, it has been an eventful summer. Goodbye, village of Crow's Landing, Ontario. It was, well, I won't say it was nice all the time being in you here, staying in you, but well, it was definitely something being here. Yeah, so on to the next chapter of whatever this is. Oh yeah, and just before I go, I also bought these, which cost me a hell of a lot. They're tire clamps. Tire locks, literally, to lock onto the tires. Got 2 of them, one for the front, one for the back, on vertical, to hook to a vertical angle like that, so that if I was in any sort of place where I need to leave it, it couldn't be towed or moved without me literally coming to unlock it. So yeah, that cost me a lot of money. Also, I don't know why I was kind of like trying to keep it like a secret what village I was staying in. I guess in case, well, of a scenario like this that happened, somewhat, or just for privacy reasons. But you know what? Fuck it. It was Crow's Landing. That's that. Oh, here they are. Okay, goodbye.